This is the Relativity Series from LA Theater Works and the Alfred P. Sloan Foundation, bridging science and the arts in the modern world. Here's part 2 of Lucy by Damien Atkins.
I drew you a picture. This is me up here. When I was really little, just a baby, someone took me to the doctor. I only had room for just the doctor's hand in the picture. And he stuck a needle in me after a count to 3. Ouch! That was awful. But do you know what was in it? Do you have a thermometer for telling if someone's sick? There's something in there. It's shiny and it looks like silver, only it's not silver. It's mercury. Mercury is beautiful and slippery, and it floated up my arms. Up, up, up like clouds of floating metal. And all the blood was thinking, hey, what's that? What's that going by? It looks like treasure. And it went into my head. When you're a baby, there's no stopping things from getting into your head. You haven't grown that part yet, the part that stops things from getting in. And mercury loves brain cells. It loves them so much that it hugs them tight and it stays there. And not much that you can do will make it come out. I have mercury in me. Right now. Are you wondering how I know all this? My mother told me.
Hey, Lucy.
You're here.
You're here.
Great.
I have some things I need to go over with you.
It's 5:30.
Is it? I've been doing some research.
You were supposed to pick up Lucy a half hour ago.
Lucy, do you want to draw for a bit? She seems fine.
Yes, but Vivian, it's 5:30.
Well, you keep saying that.
Well, it's important we stick to a schedule. We have to set an example.
Sure. Yes. Now, I have some questions about Lucy.
Listen, it's the end of the day.
Well, you have the time to answer a few quick questions.
No, I'm sorry. I have to go home.
You said we could rely on you. You said if I needed extra help, I only had to ask.
Vivian, you've been late the last 2 weeks.
Okay, I've been working. I've been looking at autism triggers.
Oh.
But it's very frustrating. There's a lot of conflicting information.
Well, it's an evolving study.
But most scientists agree there has to be a genetic component, at least. Correct?
That's the most current information, yes.
And they've been able to isolate a couple of potential autism genes, but
there may be as many as 100 involved. We don't know. Listen, Vivian, I really should...
Now, there are no recorded cases of autism before the 1940s. Is that correct?
It was named in the 40s, but it may have been around much longer than that.
Meaning that the autism gene may have been around for centuries, for millennia.
Meaning that in order for the rates to spike so suddenly...
There have to have been cofactors.
Yes.
Like mercury in childhood vaccines. What's funny?
It's just, it's a very popular theory, but look, there's a lot of hysteria out there about mercury and not a lot of proof.
The symptoms for mercury poisoning and autism are shockingly similar, wouldn't you say?
Not all of them.
Up until a few years ago, they were still using thimerosal, which contains ethyl mercury,
yes,
which is heavy metal to sterilize
yes, but most countries now have
vaccine.
protocols restricting the use of thimerosal.
But not before 40 million children might have been exposed.
Look, Vivian, the levels of autism have been rising at the same rate in countries that don't use thimerosal
There's also
as a
mercury
preservative.
in certain kinds of fluorescent lamps, batteries, ovens, refrigerators.
Okay, this is a complex issue.
They use mercury to burn coal. Did you know that? And it leaches into waterways to be absorbed by fish, to be absorbed by...
Why don't we make an appointment to talk about these things?
No, I just need a few more...
I really do have to go.
What do you mean? Where? Where do you have to go?
I have a wife, Vivian. She makes dinners for me. Usually very intricate, well-thought-out dinners. I have a very young child who stands at the door waiting for me to arrive. I have to go home.
Are you avoiding this discussion?
Am I... No, Vivian. There are lots of people trying to figure out where it came from. I'm just trying to figure out how to fix it now that it's here.
You want to fix it, but you don't even know what it is yet.
That's not true. It's complicated.
You want to fix it, but you don't even know where it comes from.
There are a lot of theories out there and not enough proof.
Well, what about lead poisoning?
Maybe, but there's not enough proof yet.
Gluten intolerance.
Not enough proof.
Birth trauma.
Why don't we make an appointment?
PCBs, pesticides.
What day is good for you?
Today is good for me.
Okay, Vivian, I'm confused. Lucy's been coming here for months.
No, I'm confused. You keep telling me that you know what you're doing.
And you choose to come in at the end of a session, at the end of a day,
Well, you
and
keep
you're
telling me
obviously
that you're
upset.
on the cutting edge.
What happened?
But you can't answer any of my questions. Clearly, there are gaps in your expertise.
Listen, we have a way of doing things here.
What else
a
are you
very
missing?
successful technique. I'm not missing anything.
You
I mean,
keep
just
telling me what you don't know. Why don't you tell me something you do know?
Why don't you tell me what happened, Vivian?
Nothing happened. I just...
Otherwise, how am I supposed to treat Lucy? How am I supposed to do what you pay me to do?
Yes,
I
I
keep
pay
blocking me,
you.
you keep refusing to participate because really...
I just want you to tell me something you know.
Because really, it's Lucy that loses out.
Just tell me something you know. Come on, you're the expert.
Yes, I am. No, Lucy. No yelling. No yelling. No, Lucy. No yelling. I shouldn't have raised my voice. That was unprofessional.
Lucy, it's time to go.
Vivian, look. Lots of people may be carrying the genes that are responsible for autism. It's not your fault. Many things have to go wrong to make a person autistic. Even if Lucy was born with the autism gene or the right combination of autistic genes, even if it turned out that she did have a genetic predisposition, it would had to have been activated or exacerbated by several environmental factors in cooperation. And there is no way that you could have stopped that from happening.
What did you say?
I said it's not your fault
You said many things have to go wrong.
to make a person autistic.
A genetic predisposition.
Yes, one that was exacerbated or activated by several...
Everything evolves, everything moves forward.
Vivian?
Oh, Lucy. Oh, Lucy.
Vivian?
Lucy, come on.
Do you see? It happens so quickly. She starts to talk. She talks and says things under her breath, and she laughs. She is working and pacing, and she writes very fast, and she reads things out loud. There's so much to read now, so much to look at, so many books. Books, books, books.
Oh, that's my book.
My book. Bones.
Fossils, older than bones.
Fossils.
Good. I'm going to sit beside you. I won't touch you. These are all fossils of people who lived a long time ago. Millions of years ago. You see? Look at the pictures. Interesting, isn't it? That's where we come from. I mean, I'm assuming you're not a creationist. I found that fossil in Ethiopia, in Africa. That's a stone tool. They use that for cutting. That's an animal skin for holding water or boiling water. And those are caves that people lived in, and they painted all over the walls. Isn't that amazing? What? Oh, yes, that's you.
That's you.
Yes, that's Lucy. That's who you were named after.
That's who you were named after.
Yes. Good for you, Lucy.
Lucy's story.
All right. She's very special. She's one of the oldest and most complete remains of a human being walking upright. You see? We know this because the distal femur is angled relative to the knee joint surfaces, which means she could balance on one leg, which is what you do when you're walking.
Vivian, good story.
Yes, it is. It is a good story. She left us so many clues just by dying where she did, And she died so very long ago. That means that we're very lucky that we found her.
Isn't that amazing?
Well, I didn't find her, but I studied her. She was only little, probably just over 3 feet tall. She was small like you, too.
She was small like you, too. Lucy, come over!
Oh, no, she can't. She's not alive. She hasn't been alive for almost 4 million years.
She's not alive.
No, not anymore. But she probably had children, and they probably had children of their own, and on for millions of years up until the present. And maybe little pieces of her got carried forward through her children and through their children's children, and eventually, maybe, through me into you. You see, this is where we come from.
You see?
I'm glad you like the pictures.
My name is Lucy.
Yes, it is. Your father wanted to call you Megan.
Not Megan.
No, certainly not. Megan is a cheerleader's name.
Hello, my name is Lucy.
Yes. Good for you, Lucy.
Good for you, Lucy. I touched her forehead with mine. I don't know why. It was flat and smooth and warm. Only for a few seconds, though, and then I stopped. I draw?
Yes, of course you can. I have some work to do, too.
I draw Lucy.
Oh, that would be lovely.
Lucy. Lucy. The pictures in the Lucy book are wonderful. She let me take the book and read it and draw the pictures. I told her I wanted to draw more and more of them, and bigger, so look what I got! A box of paints.
The European house sparrow?
Yes, where did I put it?
What about the European?
All the North American varieties of the European house sparrow come from a single breeding group that was brought to Brooklyn in the middle of the 19th century.
Lucy.
Ah, here it is.
Vivian?
And yet, in the space of only 150 years, that group has evolved in so many different varieties with so many variations in appearance that it's difficult sometimes, even for experts, to identify certain subjects.
As sparrows?
Yes.
You're talking about
Evolutionary leaps.
saltations.
Exactly.
The Manchester peppered moth.
Yes, species that make rapid evolutionary leaps in response to multiple factors.
Lucy, should you be doing that? Vivian, she's painting on the wall.
Oh. Good work, Lucy. Keep at it. Did you manage to locate that research?
Oh, yes. Here. Are you doing something for Lucy's school?
No, these are for the book.
These articles are about...
I know.
What exactly are you working on, Vivian?
Think about famous evolutionary leaps, all right? Think about the seam between Homo habilis and Homo erectus. Such a huge enlargement of the brain in such a relatively short period of time, right?
Sure.
What if a saltation is occurring right now? What if evolution is in the middle of making a giant leap forward?
A leap.
Yes!
Go.
Darwin tells us that evolution is the process of a species adapting to its environment in order to survive. Yes? Mm-hmm. But did he ever imagine that we would corrupt our environment so much that we ourselves would start to influence the basic matrices of evolution? What if we've been helping to make this leap inevitable by obsessively meeting and exchanging and fucking?
Vivian, Lucy can hear you.
Thousands of years of this incredible collision of peoples, of races, this mammoth population explosion we've created on our march towards civilization. Do you get where I'm heading with this?
I'm trying. I'm just not really sure yet what this is.
The fate of the human species, Julia. That's what this is.
The fate of the...
You said yourself it was only a matter of time before we found something.
Yes, I know. Go on.
Now, civilization is a fairly new thing. It's only about...
10,000 years old.
Right. So that means that 99% of humanity's evolutionary history has taken place in pre-civilized hunter-gatherer societies. We've lived singly or in small groups. At a certain point, the discovery of agriculture makes food production easier, more efficient.
Right.
Suddenly, a small group of farmers can provide for a whole village.
Sure.
The population explodes. Meanwhile, people who don't need to hunt for food develop specialized skills. The grocer, the policeman, the teacher, the politician, a web of interconnected people that depend on each other to survive.
Civilization.
Yes. But something's wrong. Our success has knocked the environment, the ecosystem, off balance.
Arguably.
And with all our basic needs being taken care of, we indulge in our emotions. Emotions that we can't understand, that we can't communicate, and we can't control. So we fight. We make war. And we breed, and we breed, and we breed.
I'm with you.
And the more of us there are, the more we push ourselves to extinction.
So, civilization
Is a mistake. And we know it is. We can sense it. We know we aren't meant to live this way. But Mother Nature has a plan to rebalance the ecosystem before we kill the Earth, before we kill ourselves off. She isolates us. She diminishes our emotional vulnerability. She dismantles our obsessive need to connect, to interact. She makes us less interdependent. She isolates us.
How? You're talking about...
I'm talking about Lucy.
What?
There's been a 600% increase in reported cases of autism in certain health districts in the last 10 years.
Vivian, wait a minute.
We've contaminated the environment. That is the new reality. But maybe our genetics are evolving to adapt to the new reality and succeeding.
Succeeding?
It makes sense. Genetic material mutates and evolves through generations. It's useless to resist it.
Hang on.
Or to question it.
Vivian!
Think about it, Julia. Survival of a species or of a genetic trait that means by definition that it is successful. That's the nature of evolution. The successful mutations survive.
Jesus.
600%.
Except that we're talking about a disability here, Vivian.
Life evolves, Julia, sometimes beyond the scope of our imagining.
Wait a minute. So people who aren't autistic are what? Obsolete?
If you want to put it that way.
Lucy can barely communicate, and you're telling me that she's the evolution of the...
Look around you. Person-to-person communication is becoming a thing of the past. We've become very clever at inventing ways not to have to speak to someone's face.
You think because she can't express herself, she doesn't want to? People need to communicate, Vivian. They don't want to live in isolation. That's not human. That's...
More efficient, less room for misunderstanding, for conflict.
You're serious about this? You really want me to roll up my sleeves and get to work
Yes,
on a theory
yes, I do.
that's going to
We
cause
have
us to
to get
lose
to
all
work.
of our
We need to
funding, all of
assemble
our
a
standing,
team.
not to
We're going to
mention...
need an evolutionary biologist. We're going to need...
Vivian, no one is going to want to work with you on this. No one is going to want to associate with this theory.
That's what they said to Darwin.
You're not thinking clearly.
Have some vision, Julia.
You've made a lot of assumptions.
Look, maybe I haven't got all of the details worked out yet.
all of the details.
Don't you get it? Lucy isn't sick. She's brilliant. She's the future.
Yes. Okay. I have to say, Vivian, I'm uncomfortable with the general tone of this conversation, and as of late, I don't really recognize you.
I don't blame you. I didn't recognize myself until recently.
What? You didn't realize you were an evolutionary obsolescence like me?
I'm not.
So you're autistic?
Maybe I am. I think I am. Yes.
Under normal circumstances, I think I would laugh, but there is an arrogance to the way you've just said that.
Listen, Julia, I have spent years unearthing fossils, cleaning them, analyzing them, and saving them from decay and obscurement. But I couldn't do that for myself. I couldn't understand my own self, my own bones.
Okay, but
Imagine you've spent your whole life in the dark about certain things, certain basic things about yourself, and suddenly you discover there might be an answer, a scientific answer.
I have spent my life in the dark about certain things, Vivian. That's just life. Not everything can be explained with a theory, especially a theory that not only excuses what you are lacking in your behaviors, but celebrates that lack.
That's incredibly dismissive.
What do you want me to say? I've devoted 2 years of my professional life and my friendship to you. And now you're telling me you're evolutionarily superior to me? Who's your inspiration? Mengele?
Jesus.
I didn't mean that.
You're fired.
You can't do that.
I just did.
Vivian, no.
You're fired. I told you I wasn't good at having friends.
Please don't.
I wouldn't want you to have to work with such an ogre, Julia. Someone who lacks so many appropriate behavior skills. Someone with such an incredible lack of perception. If you don't like my theories, if you don't like my work, find another meal ticket.
Christ! How can you... After all this time, how can you be so cold to me?
Interesting question. You can decide for yourself whether I'm cold because I'm autistic or whether I'm cold because I'm just a bitch.
Don't risk your reputation on this, Vivian. No one will stand with you. Fine. Goodbye, Lucy.
Goodbye, Lucy.
Goodbye.
Oh, fuck. Oh, whatever.
You're making a noise. You're making a noise.
I'm fine. I'm fine.
Isn't that amazing?
Oh, Lucy, look at your painting. It's beautiful.
Beautiful. Yes. Everything is changing. I don't have to do my faces anymore, and I only have to do baths when I have my blood. And we don't go out, and sometimes we eat with our hands, and we have lots of quiet time. Very, very quiet. And I can spin and spin all I want. Whenever I want.
I'm not going to argue with you, Morris. That's not why I called.
You know, Vivian, I think we present a fairly balanced approach.
I'm not surprised you think that.
Can I finish my sentence?
I'm not good at bullshit conversations. Isn't that one of the telltale signs, anyway? Constantly interrupts? You were the one who put the idea into my head in the first place.
What idea? Listen, Vivian, it's been 6 weeks. I think you should come in and we should discuss this.
Has it ever occurred to you that people like Lucy and me should just be left alone? That maybe we are better off alone?
Lucy and me?
Maybe we don't need therapy. Maybe we don't want to be brainwashed.
Maybe we... Vivian, are you trying to tell me that you're...
It's a spectrum disorder, isn't it?
Yes, but... Vivian... You don't have any symptoms.
Difficulty forging and maintaining relationships. Difficulty reading and interpreting emotional or gestural subtext. Lack of emotional awareness and sensitivity. Obsessive and ritualistic
emotional
patterns.
Sensitive to me right now,
and difficulty obeying the rules of polite conversation.
Vivian, all of those things can be explained. I mean, I'm not saying those things aren't true. It's just... Look, it's really tempting these days to... OCD, ADD, I mean, we all have our categories. Okay, and because of TV and because of the internet, we can diagnose ourselves all we want. I mean, everyone's an expert. Most of it isn't...
You're missing the point.
All right, then explain to me the point.
The point is, I don't care. And neither does Lucy. We don't care what your diagnosis is or your anti-diagnosis. Lucy doesn't need to be in a place that is trying to cure her of her natural gifts.
No one is trying to do that.
I'm not just talking about her excellent drawing skills, Doctor. If she doesn't want to talk, she doesn't have to. If she wants to fixate on something, she can. Because I will let her. Because I don't think it's right to try and normalize what evolution has given her.
Evolution? How is she supposed to function in this world if you don't give her the skills to do that?
Why should she function in this world, Morris? She's ahead of this world.
Has Lucy's father agreed to this?
I'm hanging up now.
No, please don't do that. We're not finished discussing.
You can cash whatever checks you already have, but there won't be any more coming.
Listen, Vivian, what we're doing is, it may be well-intentioned, but it's not good in the long term for Lucy.
I'm glad you're trying to think of the long term, Morris. That's exactly what I'm trying to do. Very, very long term. Goodbye.
All right. This is the history of human beings. First, there were apes. Then there were Australopithecines. They had big, ugly faces and flat teeth because they ate grass and bugs. But then they grew up. And then there was Homo habilis, and then Homo erectus, and then Homo sapiens. And one day, Homo sapiens will become something else. I am from the future. I am from the future, and I am so, so special. So special. So special. Did you hear that? It's time. This is the end of the story.
Hello, Lucy. Hello, Lucy.
What happened?
I just went to give her a hug. She's never acted that way with me before.
She's working. This is her private time. What are you doing here?
Vivian, I think maybe I have allowed my own issues, my own whatever, to distract me from being a good friend to you, from really listening to what you've been saying to me, especially that night. I really wish that I had put my own feelings aside and talked to you about Lucy, about your ideas. It's not about the job, really.
I gave you a chance to be in on this.
I just want you to talk to me.
Now I work alone.
Vivian, I got a call from one of the guys at the lab. He said they were packing up. They were closing down. He said he thinks that you're going out of the country, that you'll be setting up a new team there. I asked him where he thought you were going, and he said he didn't know, but...
This is none of your business.
But I know. It's Africa, isn't it? You're going to Africa. With Lucy.
Africa.
Jesus Christ.
She didn't know?
Lucy?
When were you going to tell her? In the cab to the airport?
Lucy, are you all right?
You're going to Africa.
Vivian?
We are, Lucy. We're going to Africa to live together, all right? Lucy? Did Julia upset you?
Africa.
Come here. Look at this. Look at these beautiful paintings all over the walls, just like in the caves. Look at what you made. Look at how talented you are.
Look at how talented you are.
Yes, you're a beautiful, special, talented little girl.
Africa.
Yes, and we will have a house there, just you and me, and you can paint it all you want, and no one will bother us. No one. You'll be safe.
She doesn't get it. You see that, don't you? She doesn't understand.
I don't have to justify anything to you.
Have you thought about this, Vivian? Have you really...
You don't know what you're talking about. You don't have children.
Yes. You're right. I don't have children.
You can leave now. Julia?
I should tell you something.
Vivian, it's Gavin.
Forgive me.
Jesus Christ!
I'm here too, Vivian. It's Morris. Please let us in. I'm not going anywhere until you talk to me, Vivian. Lucy! Lucy, let me in. Lucy! Vivian, what's wrong with her?
What are you doing here?
What's wrong with her? What have you been doing to her?
I didn't say you could come in.
Well, let's not get worked up about this. We just want to talk to you.
They just wanted to talk to
Lucy.
you.
What did you do? Did you tell him to just call him, or did you actually spring for the plane ticket? Is
Vivian,
that more
he's her
your
father.
style?
I called him.
You shouldn't be here. Isn't this against some kind of code or something, forcing your way into
It's
people's
unusual,
houses?
yes?
Lucy.
Please, Vivian.
I didn't say you could come in here.
We're just hoping that you'll hear us out.
Lucy, are you okay? Let me look at you.
Listen to me. We tried calling you.
I had it disconnected.
So what was I supposed to do?
Mind your own.
Lucy, come here.
Leave her alone.
Okay, let's everybody calm down. Okay, let's just everybody take a breath.
Can't believe this, Vivian. Africa!
Keep your voice down.
I trusted you. I sent her here so that she could go to school.
She doesn't need school. She doesn't need therapy.
Do you really think so, Vivian? She's back to screaming and biting.
She doesn't scream and bite if you don't disturb her.
I sent her here so she could get better.
She doesn't need
Not
to get
so
better.
you could be
She
free to
needs
take her
be
anywhere
somewhere
you
that
want, at
she's
least of all,
safe.
to Africa.
Gavin!
For God knows how long. Jesus Christ!
Okay. Let's not upset her any more than she is already.
Thank you.
Vivian, help me understand. You're saying that Lucy doesn't need therapy. You're saying she doesn't need any kind of professional help?
She doesn't.
How can you...
She has me.
And you think that's enough?
Your language is so condescending. Do you realize that?
No one here is trying to attack you, Vivian.
I'm just trying to understand.
We're just concerned.
I don't care if you understand. I know what Lucy needs. We make sense to each other. We're the same.
You're the...
Well, all right, Vivian, all right, okay. Maybe I shouldn't discount it so quickly, this notion that you might be autistic. I don't mind admitting that I might be wrong about that, okay? Let's move forward with that idea.
Oh, let's move forward.
Yes, let's get you some help.
You don't get it, do you? I don't want your help. I don't need your help. And neither does Lucy.
I disagree.
You want Lucy to be like everyone else? You want her to fit in? She's perfect. She's the future.
She has a disability, Vivian.
And you want her to be normal. You want her to be a normal human being. Pathetic and desperate and confused and destructive. This planet has been ruined by normal people. Normal civilized people have scarred this planet with their wars and their pettiness and their greed. Normal human beings aren't meant to be in charge, Morris. We aren't meant to live this way. It's over. Evolution is making us into something that terrifies you. People who can be alone, who want to be alone, people who aren't ruled by their emotions, people who don't subject each other to every feeling. That's a horrifying thought to you, isn't it, Morris? To me, it's like heaven. Heaven!
Jesus Christ.
Lucy is very special, Vivian. No one disputes that. But tell me, what survival advantage does she have? She, herself, on her own.
So you're going to lecture me about scientific methods.
Because she's not
You're
a trend,
an
Vivian.
assistant.
She's an individual, and in order for her to pass on her genes, she has to be able to procreate. She has to be able to survive long enough to do that.
You just don't have the imagination.
She
You never
has to be
did.
able to live in the world, Vivian. And as it is, she can't cope without help.
Yes, she can.
No, she hides. She harms herself. That's not survival, Vivian. That's not evolution.
You just don't want it to be true.
Bullshit! Bullshit! It's evolution! Bullshit! There's scientific evidence. There's no scientific rationale behind this, Vivian, and you and I both know it.
I am doing what you asked me to do. I am taking care of her.
You're trying to take her away from me!
She's not safe here, Gavin. No one understands her like I do. No one can see her for what she really is.
Listen to me, Vivian. I don't care about evolution. I don't care if she's the future. I don't care. I love her. I love her more than my own life, and I have loved her ever since the beginning. She's my baby. I'm taking her home.
No, she wants to be with me.
I'm not leaving her here, Vivian.
Lucy, come here.
What are you doing?
Ask her. She'll tell you.
Vivian, don't.
Lucy, I'm going to touch you. I'll be firm.
Leave her out of this.
Listen to me, Lucy. Silence, please.
Don't do this, Vivian.
This is very important.
Kevin!
I'm here, honey.
Lucy, I know I haven't known you for as long as Daddy has, but I know you now, and I am so glad I do, okay? We didn't have our time before. It's our time now.
Vivian, this isn't...
Vivian, please.
Is that what you want? Because if that's what you want, you have to tell them, Lucy. You have to tell them what you want.
Silence, please!
You're upsetting her.
Come on, Vivian.
No, Lucy, you must calm down. You must tell them what you want.
Leave her alone!
She can't do it.
Just let her speak.
What's wrong with you? Can't you see what you're doing to her?
It's not me. It's you.
She's not
Just leave
safe
us alone.
here. She's
no,
coming with
it's our
me.
time now.
She's not staying here.
No, she belongs with
You're
me.
hurting her.
She belongs with me.
You don't know what you're doing.
She belongs with me.
No, she doesn't, Vivian. You left.
I made a mistake. I made a mistake. I'm her mother. I'm her mother. Okay. I have you. No more yelling. No more yelling. There. There. Very quiet. Very quiet. Oh, Lucy. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Vivian, why don't you let me take her for a while? Give things a chance to settle down. I'm going to get her bags, but I won't hurry. I'm going to get your bags now, Lucy. You're going to come with me. Morris, Julia, why don't you give me a hand? It's okay.
I'm sorry. Lucy, I thought I was... I'm sorry. I love you.
This is the part that I can't explain, but it happens. It happens. We are alone in the room, all alone, and she says that to me, and her voice comes out soft and broken. I've never heard it sound like that. She says to me,
I love you.
And something happens that surprises me. Something comes up from my stomach and into my mouth, and I am so surprised. I don't know what it is. It feels tight all over. It hurts. But when I hear her voice like that, somehow I know what I should do.
I love you.
So I go down there. Down, down, down into my little cave. And it takes me a second to find what I'm looking for. Something I had tucked away down there. Way down there in my little cave where I keep all my things. And I hadn't looked at it in a long time. And there's not much of it, just a tiny bit. And it looks old. Old. So old. And white. So white. There's only enough to give to just one person. It hurts, but I want to give it to her. It belongs to her. I never knew what this color was for.
Lucy, what are you doing?
I take some of the white paint and I spill some on my hands, all over my fingers. And then I go to her and I pull her down so she is kneeling. I am close, so close to her face. And there is white on my hands. And I put my hands on her face, just for a second, until she is white. And she is looking right at me, but I don't move. I stay there, and I put white paint on my face.
Lucy?
She says, but I don't say anything out loud. I'm looking at my hand now.
Lucy?
I'll call you in a few days, Vivian, once I... Vivian? Vivian? Vivian, look at me. Vivian, your face. What happened?
Vivian, story.
All right. Yes. Hello? My name is Vivian. I want to show you something. Look at her eyes. Blue, blue eyes like ice. My eyes are blue like ice. This is Lucy. This is my daughter. Oh, that's a good rock. Good work. Thank you, Lucy.
You've just heard Lucy by Damien Atkins. Starring Roxanne Hart as Vivian, Lucy DeVito as Lucy, Geoffrey Lauer as Gavin, Sarah Rafferty as Julia, and Rafael Sbarge as Morris. Directed by Michael Hackett. Stage manager and live sound effects Tracy Patton. Original music and sound design by Mark DeSormo. Sound designer, recording engineer, and editor Mark Holden for the Invisible Studios, West Hollywood. Please make sure to download our interview with autism researcher Dr. Daniel Geschwind of UCLA. And next time on the Relativity Series, a thought-provoking personal look at Nicolaus Copernicus, who challenged long-held dogmatic beliefs at his own peril.
Tell me, Professor, are you on intimate terms with Luther, too?
Oh, now I see what you... but I swear to you, sir, I do not share the Reverend Luther's opinion of your theory. No, indeed.
Martin Luther has an opinion about my theory?
It's only his opinion, whereas I feel astronomy requires precisely the kind of bold new approach that you take.
What does he say about it?
Well, things come up at faculty meetings, lunches, the table talk, you know how it is.
No.
Someone gave him the gist of it, and...
And?
Well...
What did he say?
He said anyone who would turn the whole of astronomy upside down merely for the sake of novelty must be a fool.
And the Sun Stood Still by Deva Sobel, next time on the Relativity Series. Please subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts so you never miss an episode. I'm Ron Lipkin, senior radio and podcast producer. The Relativity Series is brought to you by LA Theater Works, Susan Lowenberg, producing director, and the Alfred P. Sloan Foundation, bridging science and the arts in the modern world.